Good morning. Today we're doing something a little bit different than we have in the past. My laptop has died. It's moved on. I guess it's kind of like us. First, it lost its hearing because it wasn't able to record sound very well, and the second thing, it finally just its picture was going, and then it just died. So I'm in the process of trying to find a new laptop or a good used laptop to take its place. I want one that's going to be able to make videos better than what we have. Right now I'm using my phone, which has its own problems, but one of the things that I was unaware of, and somebody made me aware of it, and I'm thankful, is that the volume hasn't been that great on my videos lately. Anybody that has Parkinson's or knows somebody that has Parkinson's knows that one of the things that we have, one of the problems that we have, is volume in our speech. And my wife has always asked me, "What did you say? What did you say?" Well, it's partly my fault that the volume wasn't working right on the other laptop. So I got a microphone, and hopefully we'll be able to amplify the sound to the point where people won't have to crank up the volume on their laptops or whatever they're watching my videos on, and that they'll be able to hang on every word that I have to say. So anyway, enough of that. Sometimes I forget that I have Parkinson's myself, and it's just one of those things. Today we're going to continue on our bolt series, the Breech bolt series, and today is the second installation of it. And what I have is, I have my friend Nunzio. Nunzio is a model 1891 Carcano. They call it the carbine. The cavalry carbine, although it never saw any cavalry duty. I did a whole story on it about a while back, and if you want to go back and watch that, it's a pretty good story. Well, I'd like to think all the guns that I did were pretty good stories, but that's a good story. This fires the 6.5 by 52 round, and it's a pretty good round for such a little gun, and it really has a good kick to it. That's for sure. The other thing I like about it is that it's got the fold-out bayonet. This was actually used by paratroopers. It was used by a lot of people, but it was well, you'd have to watch the story to get the whole idea of what's going on with it. So hopefully I'm speaking up here. Anyway, so this is let me move my microphone out of the way. This is obviously, it's a bolt action. The bolt itself is, I'll try to get that in there so you can see it. Oh, it's already cocked. It cocks on opening the bolt. You can see that. And the reason the gun is empty. I checked it. There's nothing in the chamber. There's nothing in. Actually, it has no magazine. It runs on clips. But anyway, so it was determined safe before we started. So it cocks on opening because the bolt sleeve has a V in it. And then there's a little thing that the cocking piece has a little V, so that when you turn the bolt, the cocking piece itself stays still, and it rides up that little thing. And I'll show it to you here in a few minutes. So there, it's cocked. Here's the safety. I'm trying to angle it around so you can see it good. We'll look at it real good once we get the bolt taken out. But there's the safety. To set the safety, you have to push it in, turn it, and it comes up. The safety surrounds the firing pin. The firing pin goes through the safety and ends up screwing into this little donut in the back. So now, because of that, the firing pin is unable to go forward and fire the weapon. And there's a little ridge on the back here, in the back of the bolt, that when you try to, where is it? Try to turn it, see, it hits into that, and that makes it so that you can't open the bolt. To take the safety off, you push in and you turn it, and now it works just fine. So that's how the bolt operates while it's inside the weapon. And I noticed there's a crack. The crack must have been there when I got it. I don't know why I didn't notice it at the time, but I'm going to have to go through when I redo the guns again, go through and seal that crack up, close it. I'll put some epoxy in it, and I'll put it in the vise and let it sit overnight, and it'll close up. So, but anyway, this is a nice Nunzio. Nunzio is a nice gun. So now to take the bolt out, you open it obviously, and you push it down, and then you have to push the trigger back, and it comes out. Very easy, too easy. For me, sometimes I forget that, like I told you, that's there. I have the bolt open, the trigger gets pulled, the bolt flies out, and things get broken. It's the sear that holds the bolt in. There's your sear right there. And we'll turn it so you can see that when you pull the trigger, the sear goes down, firing pin goes flying forward. Inside here also is this little piece right there, and what that is, that's the ejector. What happens is when the bolt goes in, it's on a spring. It's a little piece of metal that sticks up like that. It's on a spring, so when the bolt goes over, it pushes that down. When the bolt comes back up again, it with a round inside the bolt that hits on it, and it causes it to eject. So that's your ejector. Let me get my table here so everybody can see. There we go. There's our bolt. On the front of the bolt, right here, that is the extractor that grabs onto the round when it goes in, and so that when you pull the bolt back, it holds onto the round so that it can be ejected. You can see right here these lines. That's where it connects, and there's a pin that goes in there that holds the ejector in. The bolt handle is bent. Like I said, most carbines have bent handles. There's your safety again. We're going to get real close to the safety here. This is the cocking piece right here. We'll take that off and show you also. And this is it connects to the firing pin. You can see the firing pin right there. And what that does is it holds the firing pin up, and also keeps the cocking piece together too. So let's take it off. Right there. See it? It's a little thing on a spring that sticks up. It's a gosh, I was talking about it earlier. But what it does is it holds this thing from turning around. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to push down on it. I just use my finger, but you get tired after a while of doing that, and you just turn this little. Okay, we're almost there. Detent, that's what it's called. It's called a detent. Just about there. This bolt is relatively easy to take apart, and most bolts from that era are easy to take apart, and Oops. Now it's going the other way. But the reason is because, number one, if something would have happened out in the field, that the soldier would have to take his... Wow, that's never happened before. Would have to take his bolt apart in the field, or the guns, they used to use what they call, people may have heard that some of the ammo is caustic, and what that means is that the primer, the chemical that they used in the primer at the time, was caustic to metal. And firing all these weapons again, what happens is you get a buildup of this like sooty type stuff on there that you have to, that'll clog up your firearm and your bolt. So you have to be able to take it out and then clean the bolt and make sure that this is operational. I fire caustic ammunition, especially for my 8mm, and I just found some for my 303 Brits. It's cheaper, it's older, but what you have to do is you have to clean it. You clean your firearm after you use it. You can't just let it sit, because it'll just corrode on the steel and it cause problems. So anyway, I got it back. You can see that little dent. That's where the detent goes in. And locks the donut on the top. This is your cocking device, a cocking piece. You can see it right there. That's where it hangs onto the sear. Inside is the V that runs up the side of your bolt sleeve, a bolt body. So that when you move it, it goes up the thing. Now, this is interesting here. This little line that's cut into your bolt is for your safety. And it gives you an idea now of how the safety works. The safety is in the fire position right now. It's down close to the thing. There's a little knob right here that fits into this groove. So when you go to set your safety, you push it in. Okay, you push it in and you turn, and what happens is the little knob follows this track and goes up to the top. So now it's sitting up here, and that's why you have your cocking device sitting up there. It won't allow it to go down and cause the firing pin to fire. So there it is, it's in there. So there's a little hole right about there. See it? That's so that you can take the safety out. So what you have to do is you push it in a little bit and you turn the safety in a counterclockwise way, and it comes out that little hole. There's a little knob that's on the thing, and your safety. Firing pin out, spring up. There's your firing pin. There's your bolt. These bolts are amazingly big. When I started doing military surplus, I had no idea how big the firing pins compared to like my Remington or my Mossberg or whatever. These things are huge compared to that. But there it is. So now let's put it back together again. We just do it all in reverse order. You take and put the spring on. Then you take and put it inside the bolt body. Now, when you put this back in the safety, you have to remember that there's that little knob on there, so you have to put it down inside that hole. There's the hole. There's the hole. You stick it down inside, and you turn it. You turn the safety clockwise. So now it's in there. Now you want to put it, in order to put the cocking device, cocking piece on, and the little donut, you have to put it into the safe position. Now, there's another little trick that it took me a while to learn. On the firing pin, there's a flat side. See the flat side? Inside the cocking device piece, why do I keep calling it cocking device? Cocking piece, I guess it's both. There's a flat side in there too. The flat side is opposite this. So it's sitting right here. So what you have to do is position the firing pin in such a way that you can put this on so that this is inside the V. So there, it's inside the V. I don't have it quite right. There you go. Okay. Even if it's off just a little bit, you're not going to be able to put it back in. Okay, did that make sense? Well, if you have one of these and you take it out, you'll be able to see that there's a... so there, it's in. You take your little donut thing, put it back on. I usually bring it to the first click. I think you can go further if you were to take and push down on the detent. But I'll tell you that you don't want to make this on too tight. If you put it on too tight, what happens is it restricts the movement inside the bolt, so that when you can put a round in, fire it, but you're not going to be able to pull that the bolt back out again, because it's going to get froze up, and you're going to say, why is that froze up? And you can say, well, it's because I tightened that thing up too much. First click is good. First click is good, and it's low. So now we're going to put it back inside the firearm again. So I'm going to move my little handy workbench here. Okay, now Nunzio's back. If you try to put the bolt in the way it is, the way you just did it, right now it's in the safe position. What'll happen will be, well, you have to pull the trigger, so get past the sear. What'll happen will be the cocking device, I think you can see it, is going to hit the back of your firearm, and you're not going to be able to put it in. So what you're going to have to do is, when you take it out again, when you took it out, it was in the cocked position. So you're going to have to put it into the cocked position in order to put it back in. Hold your firing pin, pull back on the cocking piece, and just turn it. You'll hear it. It'll just fit, because that's it's sitting up on top of that little groove that I showed you. I should have showed it to you. Where the cocking piece goes up, there's a little notch at the top. So you want it sitting on that notch. So there it is. So now you depress the sear, push it in, and there you are. Something I didn't know before, and I learned, was that you don't want to leave a lot of tension on the spring, for the cocking piece and the firing pin spring. The way to release that is that when you put it in, pull your trigger back, and what happens when you close the bolt, there's no sear there to keep the firing pin in the cocked position, so it just goes in, and so there you go. You have your firearm in the non-cocked position. That's Nunzio. The last time I did a video, I had taken in my my barrel and receiver from my Craig, and I said that when I was done taking off the excess rust, I put RIG grease. I don't know what it stands for, but it's good stuff. RIG grease. I think it's made by the same people that make all the cold blowing stuff. They're Birchwood birchwood. But anyway, so I put it on there and I left it for 2 days. Then I wiped it off. And this is how it came out. Since then, I've got a trigger. So, I mean, I'm starting to get some parts. There's the ejectors inside. I put that. And I also have a bolt that we'll get to it when we start talking about this gun here. But anyway, I'm starting to make some progress. I ordered a bunch of parts that'll be coming in this weekend on it. And we'll talk about that then. But anyway, this actually video took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. But that's the Carcano bolt. I'm looking now. Let's do the straight pull Austrian next. We'll do the steer. That would be a good one to do, because it's very interesting the way the straight pull works as opposed to the regular bolt action that we're used to. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for the video.